Hello and welcome to McIver's Grant Public Library's Chapter Book Storytime. We are so close to the end of our book, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief. This book is first in the series of the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series, and it's written by Rick Riordan. It's illustrated by John Rocco. This is a beautiful illustrated version that we've been able to use for this chapter book storytime, and it is published by Disney Hyperion. We are halfway through chapter 22, which is called The Prophecy Comes True. Percy's trying to decide whether he's going home for the summer, and he and Luke are going to do some last-minute, end-of-the-summer sword fighting in the forest. I stared at the Cokes, wondering where the heck he'd gotten them. There were no regular mortal sodas at the camp store. No way to smuggle them in unless you talked to a satyr, maybe. Of course, the magic dinner goblets would fill with anything you want, but it just didn't taste the same as a real Coke, straight out of the can. Sugar and caffeine, my willpower crumbled. Sure, I decided, why not? We walked down to the woods and kicked around for some kind of monster to fight, but it was too hot. All the monsters with any sense must have been taking siestas in their nice, cool caves. We found a shady spot by the creek where I'd broken Clarice's spear during my first Capture the Flag game. We sat on a big rock, drank our Cokes, and watched the sunlight in the woods. After a while, Luke said, "You miss being on a quest? With monsters attacking me every 3 feet? Are you kidding?" Luke raised an eyebrow. "Yeah, I miss it," I admitted. "You?" A shadow passed over his face. I was used to hearing from the girls how good-looking Luke was, but at that moment he looked weary and angry and not at all handsome. His blonde hair was gray in the sunlight. The scar on his face looked deeper than usual. I could imagine him as an old man. "I've lived at Half-Blood Hill year-round since I was 14, he told me. "Ever since Thalia, well, you know, I trained and trained and trained. I never got to be a normal teenager out there in the real world, and then they threw me one quest, and when I came back it was like, okay, ride's over, have a nice life." He crumpled his Coke can and threw it into the creek, which really shocked me. One of the first things you learn at Camp Half-Blood is, don't litter. You'll hear from the nymphs and the naiads. They'll get even. You'll crawl into bed one night and you'll find your sheets filled with centipedes and mud. There's a picture of Luke and Percy sitting on the rock talking. "The heck with laurel wreaths," Luke said. "I'm not going to end up like those dusty trophies in the big house attic." "You make it sound like you're leaving." Luke gave me a twisted smile. "Oh, I'm leaving all right, Percy. I brought you down here to say goodbye." He snapped his fingers. A small fire burned a hole in the ground at my feet. Out crawled something glistening black, about the size of my hand. A scorpion. I started to go for my pen. "I wouldn't," Luke cautioned. "Pit scorpions can jump up to 15 feet. Its stinger can pierce right through your clothes. You'll be dead in 60 seconds. "Luke, what?" Then it hit me. "You will be betrayed by one who calls you a friend." "You," I said. He stood calmly and brushed off his jeans. The scorpion paid him no attention. It kept its beady black eyes on me, clamping its pincers as it crawled onto my shoe. "I saw a lot out there in the world, Percy," Luke said. "Didn't you feel it? The darkness gathering, the monsters growing stronger. Didn't you realize how useless it all is? All the heroics, being pawns of the gods. They should have been overthrown thousands of years ago, but they've hung on thanks to us half-bloods." I couldn't believe this was happening. "Luke, you're talking about our parents," I said. He laughed. "That's supposed to make me love them? Their precious Western civilization is a disease, Percy. It's killing the world. The only way to stop it is to burn it to the ground and start over with something more honest." "You're as crazy as Ares." His eyes flared. "Ares is a fool. He never realized the true master he was serving. If I had time, Percy, I could explain, but I'm afraid you won't live that long." The scorpion crawled onto my pants leg. There had to be a way out of this. I needed time to think. "Kronos," I said. "That's who you serve." The air got colder. "You should be careful with names," Luke warned. "Kronos got you to steal the Master Bolt and the helm. He spoke to you in your dreams." Luke's eye twitched. "He spoke to you too, Percy. You should have listened." "He's brainwashing you, Luke." "You're wrong. He showed me that my talents are being wasted. You know what my quest was 2 years ago, Percy? My father Hermes wanted me to steal a golden apple from the garden of Hesperides and return it to Olympus. After all the training I've done, that was the best they could think up." "That's not an easy quest," I said. "Hercules did it." "Exactly," Luke said. "Where's the glory in repeating what others have done? All the gods know how to do is replay their past. My heart wasn't in it. The dragon in the garden gave me this." He pointed at the ugly scar. And when I came back, all I got was pity. I wanted to pull Olympus down, stone by stone right then, but I bided my time. I began to dream of Kronos. He convinced me to steal something worthwhile, something no hero had ever had the courage to take. When we went on that winter solstice field trip, while the other campers were asleep, I snuck into the throne room and took Zeus's master bolt right from his chair. Hades' helm of darkness, too. You wouldn't believe how easy it was. The Olympians are so arrogant. They never dreamed someone would dare steal from them. Their security is horrible. I was halfway across New Jersey before I heard the storms rumbling, and I knew that they had discovered my theft. The scorpion was sitting on my knee now, staring at me with its glittering eyes. I tried to keep my voice level. So why didn't you bring the items to Kronos? Luke's smile wavered. I got overconfident. Zeus sent out his sons and daughters to find the stolen bolt. Artemis, Apollo, my father, Hermes. But it was Ares who caught me. I could have beaten him, but I wasn't careful enough. He disarmed me, took the items of power, threatened to return them to Olympus, and burned me alive. Then Kronos' voice came to me and told me what to say. I put the idea in Ares' head about the great war between the gods. I said all he had to do was hide the items away for a while and watch the others fight. Ares got a wicked gleam in his eyes. I knew he was hooked. He let me go, and I returned to Olympus before anyone noticed my absence. Luke drew his sword. He ran his thumb down the flat of the blade as if it was hypnotized by its beauty. Afterward, the Lord of the Titans, he punished me with nightmares. I swore not to fail again. Back at Camp Half-Blood in my dreams, I was told that a second hero would arrive, one who would be tricked into taking the bolt and the helm and the rest of the way, from Ares down to Tartarus. You summoned the Hellhound that night in the forest. We had to make Chiron think the camp wasn't safe for you, so he would start you on your quest. We had to confirm his fears that Hades was after you, and it worked. The flying shoes were cursed, I said. They were supposed to drag me in the backpack into Tartarus, and they would have if you'd been wearing them, but you gave them to the satyr, which wasn't part of the plan. Grover messes up everything he touches. He even confused the curse. Luke looked down at the scorpion, which was now sitting on my thigh. You should have died in Tartarus, Percy, but don't worry. I'll leave you with my little friend to set things right. Thalia gave her life to save you, I said, gritting my teeth, and this is how you repay her? Don't speak of Thalia, he shouted. The gods let her die. That's one of the many things they will pay for. You're being used, Luke. You and Ares both. Don't listen to Kronos. I've been used? Luke's voice turned shrill. Look at yourself. What has your dad ever done for you? Kronos will rise. You've only delayed his plans. He will cast the Olympians into Tartarus and drive humanity back to their caves, all except the strongest and the ones who serve him. Call off the bug, I said. If you're so strong, fight me yourself. Luke smiled. Nice try, Percy, but I'm not Ares. You can't bait me. My lord is waiting, and he's got plenty of quests for me to undertake. Luke, goodbye, Percy. There's a new golden age coming. You won't be a part of it. He slashed his sword and arc and disappeared in a ripple of darkness. The scorpion lunged. I swatted it away with my hand and uncapped my sword. The thing jumped at me, and I cut it in half in midair. I was about to congratulate myself until I looked down at my hand. My palm was a huge red welt, oozing and smoking with yellow guck. The thing had gotten me, after all. My ears pounded. My vision went foggy. The water, I thought, it had healed me before. I stumbled to the creek and submerged my hand, but nothing seemed to happen. The poison was too strong. My vision was going dark. I could barely stand up. 60 seconds, Luke had told me. I had to get back to camp. If I collapsed out here, my body would be dinner for a monster. Nobody would ever know what had happened. My legs felt like lead. My forehead was burning. I stumbled toward the camp, and the nymphs stirred from their trees. Help, I croaked. Please. Two of them took my arms, pulling me along. I remember making it to the clearing, a counselor shouting for help, a centaur blowing a conch horn, and then everything went black. And we're going to have to stop there. Can you believe it? We're going to have to stop. We are so close. But I'm so afraid that if I start reading that we're not going to make it. So we're going to stop here and see what happens to Percy next time. Come back and see us.